You know, Judy and I realize that in springtime, we are all thinking about the new plants that we're going to get and working out in our garden. So we wanted to take a few moments to remind you about the very importance of tools in the garden and the different types that you can use.
You know, we're not just talking about tools for the experienced garden and the large garden. We're talking about people that are new to gardening and the small space that you might have right outside your door, or you might have a new big garden.
So we have divided them into three different categories. We have cutting, cultivation, and digging. So let's jump right into the cutting tools. You know, I don't know any gardener throughout my entire life who has not wanted a great pair of hand pruners. Now these are Felcos. They are not the least expensive pruners you can buy, but there's reasons for that. They're very well made, and they're very sharp, and they're very clean. However, one of the best parts is all of these things that make it work. Well, if they break, you can just go and replace them. You don't have to get a whole new pair of pruners. Another great thing is they have several sizes. They have pruners for large hands, they have pruners for smaller hands, they have left and right different type pruners, and they even have ergonomically correct handles, which I think is very clever. Then you might also want to think about a basic pruner if you have a larger garden, about actually having some extensions. These come in various different lengths as well, but the great thing about them is if you're smaller and you have a 7-foot tall tree, all you have to do is use these, and then you can get up and get those errant limbs that we all have on plants in our garden.
And you know, sometimes the loppers just won't work and you need a little hand saw. This is a great little compact one. It has really nice sharp teeth and it has a nice grip on it, and you can get in there and take out those little bit bigger limbs that are giving you a problem. Also, for larger gardens, if you have hedges and you don't want to use an electric hedger, these are hand shears. Really nice long blade, a nice long handle to give you the proper position to do that, and you can get in there and shape all those hedges. I think you can also use these really when you want to trim back those ornamental grasses. You need to take down all the old foliage at the beginning of the spring, and I think these would really help clean them up.
Now the next level down we're going to talk about is cultivation. Cultivation is important on a lot of different levels, and there's many different tools with which can assist you to do that. Now these kind of tools are just like, they're called tongs, they're called prongs, they're called all kinds of things, but what they have are these little short ties here, and you can see they're kind of sharpened, and they come in 2, 3, 4 different sizes, but they're really great because you can go into small areas under plants and do some tilling. You can use them in larger areas, so they're really great for a beginning tool to learn how to get in and work around your plants. Another one that I really like, and there's several different types of these kind also, are the ones that have the tongs. So they do for the weeding, the cultivation, all of that. But then if you flip them over, you've got a great little tool that goes in and also does weeding and breaking up of soil, but then you can use it to actually make rows in a garden to plant seeds or even bulbs.
And then if you do have a larger garden, you're going to want to have a hoe. This one is called a hula hoe, and it really is like 2 cultivators in one. You can use it to take out weeds. It actually has like a wiggle kind of motion there, and there's a blade on it that will take out the weeds, but there's a smooth edge too that won't damage any of your existing plants. There's also hoes with a flat, solid blade on it that you could use to make furrows in it. You're going to be planting a lot of vegetables or a row of shrubs, and you can make a whole trench with them. I love the long handle too. It's easier on your back. Another tool to have is a rake. This is a really nice one, nice heavy duty bow rake. You use it to kind of smooth out the soil. You can even rough it up if you're going to be putting lawn seed down, or you also can use it on the back side to flatten out your soil to get it all nice and smooth. A heavy-duty fork like this is really good to use for cultivating and for digging. For the cultivating, you're going to be digging in and just taking up the first couple inches of the soil. Really helps with that with the separated tongs and tines. And then you could also use a little bit more force in it and really get down in there and break up that soil for some big work that you'd be doing.
And speaking of digging, that actually is our last level here, the digging part. And there's a lot of digging in a garden. So one of the things I suspect every one of us really likes and should have is a hand trowel. Now that's pretty just much fancy words for a hand shovel, but that's what it is. It's a little bit elongated, and it can do a great amount of different types of jewels in the soil. So whether you're doing them in a pottery or out in your garden, you need really to look into having a hand trowel. Of course, in larger gardens, we're always going to need a true garden spade. Now, there's a lot of different names, and generally they have different meanings, whether it's spade or shovel. They have specific meanings, but most of them, like this, are what we call a shovel in the garden. The wonderful thing you can pay attention to nowadays is the amount of different sizes. Some of them have really long handles for deeper digging. Some of them are larger, smaller, a whole lot of different options. But whatever you choose, be sure that you get one well-made shovel for your garden.
And you know, William, I think one of the really basic tools and great tools to have is a pair of gloves.
It's true.
Make sure you use them. It's not just to keep your hands cleaned, it really is to keep your hands safe from maybe possibly getting them cut. Really great thing to have.
And let's never forget that whether you are a brand new gardener or if you are an experienced gardener, we all need to pay attention to the tools we use in the garden.
You know, take a stop over to your local independent garden center. They're there for all those questions. Have them explain what the tools that they have and tell them what your needs are. They're really going to help you out.